Chapter 765, Doesn't it make you more attracted to me? Over the next few days, at the best, ex-girlfriend ended up holding a celebration for the completion of their filming. Throughout the entire filming process, Chan Zinyan's change left the deepest impression on the director. After an entire film's worth of training, she was now a lot more natural in front of the cameras. She did not disappoint as Mo Ting's sister. It was as if her fate was destined to be tied to the entertainment industry because her ability to adapt to different situations was not something the average person could compare to. Zinyan, keep up the good work. Continue with your current attitude. Since your whole family is involved with the entertainment industry and you are working in it, you should make a name for yourself. That way you won't humiliate your brother. Plus, you have a great manager that you should appreciate. During the celebration, Director Wang drank a little too much, so he spoke a lot more than usual. However, his words were extremely sincere and moved Chen Zinyan. After the celebration, Anzihao leaned over and whispered in Chen Zinyan's ear, "Let's go. We should go home to get some rest." Chen Zinyan quickly bid farewell to the crew and left the hotel with Anzihao. However, as soon as she stepped off the lift, she noticed a familiar figure at the reception desk. Even though the woman had a face mask on, Chen Zinyan had clashed with her so many times that it was impossible for her not to recognize her. It was Bai Linlin, and next to her was a man. "I was wondering why Bai Linlin hasn't been causing trouble lately. It turns out, she's in a relationship." "Is that Bai Linlin?" Anzihao looked at the couple in detail. "I'm certain, but, if I'm correct, that man is Bai Yu's husband." Anzihao raised his eyebrows at Chen Zinyan. "Are you saying?" Chen Zinyan covered her mouth. "Are you saying that Bai Linlin is having an affair with Bai Yu's husband?" Looking at their sneaky expressions and how intimate they are, I'm afraid that may be the case. "Isn't that too ridiculous? Why don't we follow them and take some photos?" "Hasn't Bai Yu been bothering Ningji a lot lately?" If news of this gets out, Chen Zinyan immediately tried to follow the couple, but Anzihao stopped her. "Silly. There are security cameras. Go home and get some rest. I'll handle this matter." "Oh, but, it's so exciting." Chen Zinyan couldn't hide her excitement. Anzihao looked at her in a helplessly doting way. After escorting her to the car, he made her wait half an hour before they returned home. As soon as they walked in through the front door, Chen Zinyan immediately pounced upon Anzihao and wrapped her arms around his neck. "Did you get the evidence? What do you think?" Anzihao asked as he pinched her on the bottom. "Why don't we do something exciting too?" Anzihao knew what she was thinking, so he immediately rejected her. "You're still young, I'm already 20 years old, go get some rest." "I'm going to speak to Tang Ning about what to do with the security footage of Bai Linlin cheating with her brother-in-law." "Fine, you have serious matters to tend to." Bai Yu is going to suffer broken bar. After speaking, Chen Zinyan slid off Anzihao's body. Anzihao patted her on the head as a bitter smile appeared on his face. This woman didn't seem to understand the dangers of rubbing against his body. Worst of all, he was finding it more and more difficult to control himself. If he could no longer endure one day and actually slept with her, what would he do? Anzihao sighed and turned around to return to his study room. He then gave Tang Ning a phone call. But, the person to pick up was Mo Ting. I didn't mean to call Tang Ning so late at night, but there's something that I really want to share with her." "Huh? I guess you're a qualified girlfriend of hers," Mo Ting said as he raised an eyebrow. Anzihao held his head helplessly. Although he didn't want to admit that he was like a woman in Mo Ting's mind, in front of Mo Ting, he had to admit defeat. "Keek, well, a broken bar. Zinyan and I attended a celebration dinner today, but we ran into Bai Linlin and Bai Yu's husband having an affair at the hotel. Due to the fact that Bai Yu has been clinging to Tang Ning, I thought this information would be of use to you guys. So, I went to the security office and secured a copy of the surveillance footage." "You don't need to make a phone call about something like this," Mo Ting said coldly. Anzihao could have said that he had things to tell Tang Ning that he didn't want Mo Ting to know about. But he didn't. Above all, it wasn't his responsibility to catch the adulterous couple. Couldn't Mo Ting at least be thankful? If this was in the past, he would have questioned Mo Ting. But now, due to guilt, he could only stare at Mo Ting and let him be right. What did Zihao say? Tang Ning was actually standing by Mo Ting's side feeding the babies. He discovered Bai Linlin having an affair with Bai Yu's husband, Mo Ting said as he put down his phone. Tang Ning was a little stunned but quickly accepted it. It doesn't really come as a surprise. Bai Linlin is young and beautiful, whereas Bai Yu is ambitious and ruthless. Any man would go for the first option. I wouldn't. Mo Ting looked at Tang Ning seriously. My every choice is you. Recently, Tang Ning discovered that she had turned into Mo Ting's fangirl. She had become a lot more obsessed with this man. Every time she discovered something new about him, she would wonder if there was anything that he couldn't do. After putting down her babies, Tang Ning tugged on Mo Ting's shirt and pulled him closer to her. I still have a debt to collect. Mo Ting smiled as he followed Tang Ning into their bedroom. How many other things have you not told me? Tang Ning asked as she pressed Mo Ting against the wall. After marrying you for so long, I've realized that there is still so much to discover about you. Mr. Mo, you sure know how to surprise and delight me. Doesn't it make you more attracted to me? Mo Ting asked with a smile. But that can't be right, Mrs. Mo. I feel like the thing that attracts you the most about me is something else. You? Before Tang Ning could finish talking, Mo Ting lifted her in his arms and carried her to the bed. Mrs. Mo, I can't hear a word you are saying at the moment. All I can think about is having you. Throughout their day of filming, especially when they acted alongside each other, the majority of their scenes were heartbreaking. It was a combination of love and hate, of being in love, but not being able to be together. Every time she experienced scenes like this, Tang Ning would reflect on herself and be even more grateful for the man before her and their family. The Forensic Concubine ended up filming for a good few months and remained under wraps the entire time. At this point, there were still a few big scenes that had not been filmed yet. Perhaps to speed up the progress, after causing trouble between Hairu and fans of the novel, Bai Yu went under the radar for a while and placed her focus on a concubine Ning. Actually, when it came to acting, she really wasn't bad. However, she acted kind while playing vicious tricks, which was much too disgusting. After Anzihao handed the evidence of Bai Linlin cheating with Bai Yu's husband to Mo Ting was in no rush to put it to use. After all, President Mo had always been black, believe it or not. He knew that good things should be used where they made the biggest impact because that was the most effective way to utilize a resource. Before anyone knew it, the time of year with the most award ceremonies came around again. As A Concubine Ning reached its completion, Bai Yu began to attend many promotional events. Of course, she continued to appear in front of everyone with her fake smile and spoke words of fake kindness. But, every time she went out at night, someone would help her take good care of her husband. Chapter 766. Prepared to announce the male lead. A Concubine Ning is scheduled for the 15th of the new year. Their aim is to be released before The Forensic Concubine. Whenever two ancient dramas are released around the same time, the one to be released first always holds the advantage. Firstly, viewers always favor whoever comes first. Secondly, when two similar things follow each other, the viewer will easily get bored. Moreover, A Concubine Ning has secured a place on the best channel and is due to be broadcast during prime time. This is definitely not beneficial for us. During a meeting at Hairu, an executive in charge of operations began to voice his opinion. Bai Yu has always had a good relationship with the public and her image has been well maintained. Even though she previously had a falling out with us, when we look at the bigger picture, the crew of A Concubine Ning has kept everything under control. Most importantly, we have yet to reveal our male lead. After the first round of promotions, the anticipation for A Concubine Ning has doubled in comparison to us. President Mo, The Forensic Concubine hasn't finished filming yet. What should we do? Are we going to vie for a vacation release instead? If that's the case, we will miss out on this year's Tian Awards. Who said that we will have a later release date than A Concubine Ning? Mo Ting asked the people in the room. A Concubine Ning has indeed secured a place on the best channel during prime time, but they are merely occupying the weekday time slots. What about Saturday and Sunday? Weekends are ruled by variety shows. What about after the variety shows are over? Is President Mo trying to say that we will take the weekend time slot? Mo Ting was going to let A Concubine Ning promote in whatever way they wanted. After all, he had plenty of explosive information in his hands. If he was to reveal it, A Concubine Ning would become nothing. Most importantly, He had evidence that Bai Linwen was cheating with Baiyu's husband. But the thing was, since Baiyu was the victim, he couldn't reveal it to the public. He had to deal with it in private. Because, he knew that if he was to reveal it to the public, Baiyu would end up gaining sympathy. It was during this decisive stage that something big happened to the crew of A the Forensic Concubine. Due to the weather and the negligence of the production crew, director Chan Feng ended up getting into an accident during filming and was sent directly to the hospital. Soon, news of this was leaked and a variety of speculations began to form. I heard that director Chan Feng fell off a cliff and died. I heard that the location where The Forensic Concubine was filmed is cursed. There have already been multiple deaths there. Oh no, how unlucky. I also heard that when director Chan Feng died, his head was separated from his body. How terrifying. Regardless of the rumors, one thing was for sure. The Forensic Concubine would need to be suspended and its progress delayed. Actually, regarding a matter like this, all Hyrule had to do was step forward and clarify the situation and the truth would be revealed. But, the distressing thing was, director Chan Feng's legs were currently not very convenient to do so. Even God is on my side, Baiyu sneered after reading the news. Let's see how long this tattered crew can hold on. There's actually no need to be worried, UG. The ratings will eventually prove who the real winner is, her assistant comforted. In that case, help me keep a close eye on the competition. A Concubine Ning is almost due for release. I don't want any accidents to happen, Baiyu instructed coldly. As Tang Ning was aware of the history between Baiyu and Huang Fu Shao, she decided to tell him that Bai Linwen and Baiyu's husband were having an affair to help him relieve his anger. But, after Huang Fu Shao finished listening to Tang Ning, he did not feel as satisfied as he would have before. It wasn't because he didn't hate Baiyu, it was because he understood one thing: no matter how badly Baiyu treated him in the past, he had to control himself. He knew that everything Baiyu owed him would eventually be returned. Due to the accident on the set of The Forensic Concubine, Mo Ting gave the entire crew a break. During this time, Wang Fu Shao came across Baiyu at a hotel. As he looked at her husband standing beside her, he couldn't help but feel a sense of ridicule. This was no accident. He had deliberately appeared at this hotel after finding out her whereabouts. As usual, Baiyu acted like she owned the world. So, as soon as she spotted Wang Fu Shao, she immediately stood in his path and prevented him from leaving. I don't think I've introduced you to my husband, have I? I don't think it's necessary. I have become quite familiar with him lately, Wang Fu Shao said with a deeper meaning. Since you're familiar with him, then you should know that I'm not someone you should offend, Baiyu warned beside Wang Fu Shao's ear. Wang Fu Shao felt Baiyu was pitiful, but he did not think that she deserved sympathy. By the way, I heard that your crew has suspended filming. Poor things. You guys previously struggled to find a male lead, and this time, your director was injured. Your production has had its fair share of difficulties. Baiyu's gaze contained a sense of joy. For some reason, underneath the neon lighting, she suddenly felt like a stranger. Did you know that A Concubine Ning will be broadcasting after the new year? I hope you can contribute to the viewership ratings. As for when your drama will make an appearance in front of the viewers, I can only wish you the best of luck. Wang Fu Shao crossed his arms as he faced Baiyu's provocation and smiled. Aren't you tired of putting on a mask in front of people? Who told me to be an actress? Baiyu, I specifically came here to see what a joke you are. Sooner or later, you are going to discover that you are a stupid beach. After speaking, Wang Fu Shao pressed the lift button and disappeared from the couple's sight. Baiyu looked in the direction that Wang Fu Shao left and laughed in ridicule. He's already reached this stage, yet he's trying to put up a front. But, unfortunately for Baiyu, Wang Fu Shao wasn't putting up a front. The Forensic Concubine simply hadn't announced their intention. Although they hadn't completed their filming, it wasn't going to affect their broadcast. It was a weekend drama. There could always be a season 1 and season 2. How was this considered as facing difficulties? Wang Fu Shao felt like he had a responsibility to tear off Baiyu's mask in front of the public because it hurt his conscience. But, He was going to wait until after the forensic concubine began broadcasting. As for the affair between her sister and her husband, it would leave a deeper impression if she discovered it herself. A broken bar. Beiyu simply felt that Wang Fu Shao and Tang Ning were the same. They both knew how to put on an act and were disgusting. So, during her next promotional event, she displayed her sympathy towards the forensic concubine. She deliberately mentioned another drama as if she was generously sharing her popularity with them. A little while later, Hairu updated the public on director Chan Feng's condition and clarified all the previous rumors. Apart from this, they also appeared ready to make a big move. They were prepared to announce the male lead. At this point, it doesn't matter who it is. Didn't they already stop filming? I know, right? After so much time has passed, my level of anticipation has already disappeared. I've already prepared myself to watch a concubine Ning. As for the forensic concubine, let's just read the novel instead.
Hit the like, thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening.